Where do women leaders go for real, unfiltered conversations regarding issues we don't often talk about openly? This is the place and the space. Welcome to Still I Rise, where we not only talk about it, we say the quiet part out loud. And remember to chime in on topics you'd like to have us discuss. Join us for Still I Rise. Hey, you all. Welcome to another podcast of Still I Rise. There has been so much stuff going on lately. And thank you to all of you who have liked, shared, subscribed, followed this podcast. We're getting all sorts of comments. Don't hesitate to let us know what you want us to talk about, because we're just two well-educated, smart, beautiful, intelligent, fabulous broads talking about life, and you are part of that conversation. Today we're going to be talking about work-life balance. I can hardly even get that out because I don't know what it is.
The big lie.
Yeah, it's a big lie. There's been a lot of research on this though, and then some of the research has shown that there is a strong link between work-life balance and well-being, stress, and burnout. Well, I don't think they needed to research that. We could have just told them, yeah, there's a tremendous connection
Just
between
asked a
those
few
two.
of us. We could come up with that one ourselves.
But you know what, too, Dr. Gunnings, that with working from home and flex schedules, sometimes those lines are even more blurred now than they were before. Right. When you had an 8 to 5, 40-hour week job or hour week job, you went to work, you came home, that was different. But now it's blurred lines. And so is work-life balance a myth? And for people
hold on. Here we go, people.
We got
when we decided on this topic, wait a minute. And this will buy me a few words, because I want people to know this is a 20. I'm going big, no more coins. Can you see that? This is a 20. I'm going with the big
we need to give that money to the food bank councils, because with everything going on with that right now. Yeah.
We all have to be responsible.
Yeah. So by the way, folks, the money that she puts in the curse jar, which will be quite substantial by the time that we finish, is being donated to some nonprofit. So he has to pay to swear. But so is it a myth? Is there any such thing as work-life balance? Should we try to accomplish it? I mean, you and I talked about things that we've gone through.
Absolutely.
And women in particular, talk about them.
Yeah.
You know what, though, Paula?
I'm going to take it back. I'm going to take it back.
Yeah.
To the beginning. Okay.
Okay.
And how can I say this? I find the term work-life in and of itself, much less work-life balance, offensive as hell. So first of all, I never understood the concept. And by the way, there are work-life balance offices in places, in both higher ed, business, and other industry. They have offices. So the part that always was not clear to me is, I don't know where this term originated, okay? But it suggests that you compartmentalize work and life. Mm-hmm. To me, work is part of my life. So I never understood that. I never understood why the initial, message was that these are two separate entities. And then you have the audacity to talk to me about balancing that shit. So what is so you're assuming the goal is to have this even? Because that's what balance means, that there's supposed to be some sort of equilibrium to all of this. That is such a unreasonable demand that, as you said, is primarily targeting women. I understand there are all kinds of family structures in which it is not women who are primarily the caretakers, who are not, disproportionately the domestic ones. But let's be honest, that rooted in the assumption that let's help women balance the responsibilities we expect them to have. So the whole term I find offensive. I don't know where you're going with this now. I've said that. The whole term, that's why it's a big lie.
Even the research that has been done primarily with women.
Of course.
It hasn't been done with men. It says research is also looking at how new work models, remote, hybrid, and technology blur home work boundaries and are influencing work-life balance for women.
Of course. Of course.
For women. And so when you are trying to manage through that, whether you are a caregiver And we
Right.
know there have been a tremendous, I mean, that level of responsibility and stress,
That's right.
whether you are taking care of children, whether
Yep.
you are sandwiched in between what we call the
That's right.
sandwich generation, where
That's right.
grandmother or grandfather one end and grandchildren on the other end.
That's right.
How do you balance all that? Do you talk about
Right.
it in the workplace? Do
Right.
you go to your HR, someone say, got all this going on at work? Do companies even understand what that means? And it is
Yeah.
for women who are
Well,
givers or
I don't know,
men.
Paula. One of the, and I'm being very transparent and genuine here. One of the things that I have valued most in my life is the friendship of you
Oh,
going through
mhm,
my challenges in not just balancing, but managing some of those realities. And I think the first thing that we need to do is sometimes just acknowledge
mhm,
that this is a lot happening in my life right now.
mhm,
And work is part of my life.
mhm,
Managing in my situation, managing my mother,
mhm,
who had severe dementia, who was, not getting better.
mhm,
Um, Me learning the realities of what it meant
mhm,
I needed to do if my decision was to keep her in our home,
mhm.
working with my spouse and trying to navigate what does that mean we both step into doing. But getting to your point, Paul, I never talked with anyone about that
Mhm.
but you and
Yeah.
one other individual. I mean, I just didn't. So when you say, I couldn't have imagined going to my employer, to be honest. And I had that situation with her initially. And I
Mhm.
will give a shout out to my employer at Michigan State University. When my mother first took ill, went to the Cleveland Clinic.
Uh,
Um, I spoke to the person who was sort of the HR person in our college. And my concern was the same as any other working woman. Look, I cannot get paid. Okay, I cannot not get paid.
We got to
I don't
get the
know
check.
what
Yeah,
I
got
don't
to
know what
get
the
the
hell we
check.
got to do, but I need a check and a chair. Okay, let's just be clear. We've got to keep those
We
things
don't want
consistent.
leave of absence.
We don't want leave of absence.
Right.
I'm not taking reduce. I'm not. We got to figure this out. And she, she, almost stopped me mid rant and said, Sonya, I'm not even worried about it. You
Yeah.
produce wherever you are. So that was a blessing, but that is not a reality for a lot of people.
And people and women in particular, which that's what we talk about. We talk about women in the workplace saying the
Yep.
quiet part out loud, things that women
Yes,
go through in order to be promoted to climb that ladder, that corporate organizational
absolutely.
ladder. And
Absolutely.
this is one of those things. And I love what you said about just the terminology itself, work-life balance. Because there was a time in my life where I thought they were distinctly different.
Right.
That I used to tell, when I was in the classroom, when I was working, so you can call me at 6 a.m. in the morning because that's when
That's
I'm
right.
up.
That's
You can call
right.
me until 11 o'clock at night, but don't call
Right.
me on weekends or starting noon on Friday.
Yep.
Don't call from noon on Friday till 6 a.m. on Monday because that's my time. That was my balance. Okay.
Yes.
The more
Yes.
that you get into the C-suite, those lines get blurred.
Exactly.
They get very
Exactly.
blurred. And then
Exactly.
you begin to wonder, where are the lines? Where is the separation?
Yes.
Once your children get away from home, because
Yes.
my priority was my kids, and so I'm
Yes.
there for them evening, weekends, whatever. And
Yes.
it
Right.
limited my mobility,
Right.
my career. It limited it because I
Yeah.
refused to give that up. I'm going to go to the football, to the
That's right.
orchestra recitals, and so I'm going to do
Yep.
that.
Yep.
It should not have limited it. It should,
Exactly.
and so
Exactly.
and yet who do you talk to about, when my sister was ill, when my sister-in-law had cancer, and
Yeah.
one died on a Friday, one died on a Saturday. No one even knew they were ill. I'm going back and forth from
Mm.
Michigan to Ohio when my dad died to be with my mom. No one knew I was going back and forth every other weekend. So why are we not talking about that? And it's
No.
because we don't think employers, I think it's because we don't think employers understand. We don't want people to think we can't handle it, that we
That's
can't
exactly
manage
it.
all of this.
That's exactly it, Paula.
And don't let that think that I don't want you to think that because I'm doing that, I can't also
Exactly.
facilitate this big conference for, AC, Council, American Council on Education, because I'm
That's
doing
right.
that. Don't think that.
Right. Or that there's something because because I share with you that, the conclusion is that there's something about me that's less than
Right.
because I'm managing this or bringing my personal life into the workspace. And we understand that there are boundaries to that. I
Right.
don't think that that's something that needs to be really pressed it home, but this whole notion, you said when you were talking about yourself in those situations, and I was thinking about my own, it really, in my thinking, Paula, it wasn't about work-life balance. It was about just managing the realities and complexities of life in general.
Right,
You
right,
know, managing it, negotiating, navigating, juggling, whatever you want to call it, we do it.
right. And
Women
now
do
we
it.
work where we sleep and eat.
Thank you.
We're working from home. I mean, we're
Yeah,
working from
right.
home more. And
That's
so
right.
it even gets more blurred now.
That's
But I
right.
will tell you that the young people that I'm working with, and you
Yeah.
mentioned that we didn't bring all this stuff into work. They bring everything to the workplace.
So they're
You
not
know, their
playing, huh?
boyfriend, you know, their
They
girlfriend.
do they really?
They talk about everything. You know, my aunt Nellie from my mother's side, the second cousin removed, is having surgery on Monday. Can I have time off?
Do you think interesting? So you see it with a younger generation.
I
Do you
do.
think that comes from a point of sort of assumed privilege, or do you think that they are, or maybe both can be true, that they are pushing the envelope about our very point when we say, why are we talking about work life when part of my life is work?
I think it's all of the above. And I think that
Yeah,
we have used that term, and I go back to your opening statement, we've used
yeah.
that term so much that people actually believe there is such a thing,
Right?
that it really does exist.
They believe the big
And we're here
lie.
to break the myth. I'm sorry. Those of you who are
They've been
listening.
lying to you people.
Yes, and we're here to break that myth that
Right?
but what you do need to we all need to pay attention to is making certain there's time for ourselves, time
Oh,
that we're
that's a
feeling good
priority.
about what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because if you're not,
No,
then that's the balance, right?
no,
That's if
no,
you're not.
actually, no,
Mhm.
that is the priority. And I would tell every one of my patients, and particularly my female patients, starting off, beginning of every session, before we get into anything else, tell me how you've made yourself a priority in your own life.
Oh, that's good.
Since we last saw each other, tell
That's
me ways
good.
in which you made yourself a
Hmm.
priority in your own life. And if you're hesitant and if you're having difficulty identifying
Hmm.
real specific ways in which you're doing that, then you've got to make some change.
So let
You've
me
got
ask
to
you
make
the
some
question:
change.
how are you making yourself a priority in your own life? Or no, how did you do that when you were taking care of your mom? How did you do it?
Well, I say that because I don't think I did that as well as I should have,
Mm.
to
I
be
know you
very
didn't.
honest with you.
I know
You
you
know,
didn't. Yeah,
yeah, the walking the talk is a whole nother conversation.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
I don't think I did that as well as I should have. But I also will say in the same breath, there were clearly times in which I was intentional about making sure that happened.
Yes. Yeah. And
So,
that's when you got to the point where you needed to break.
I needed it. I had, you can have health symptoms.
Right. Absolutely.
You can have
Don't
all sorts
sleep.
of
Hmm.
the sleep. And I'm
Hmm.
going to tell you, you want to screw with your mood, screw
Yeah,
with your sleep
exactly right. And so much of your
immediately.
health is connected to how well
You're
you're
going to
sleeping.
see it. You're going to see it. Your interactions
Mhm.
with loved ones or even those you don't love, you work on how you interact with them
I
that you
always said
don't
I'm
even
much more
like.
homicidal than suicidal.
That's right.
So if I got work-life balance issues, if I got menopause issues, if I've
Yes.
got work issues,
Yes.
you just better look out, get out, get back. And I have a permit, so I
Yes.
so me and Kamala Harris both have that in common. So if you come up in here, you just
I
step to
know.
me. You better
I
know what
remind
kind.
myself every now and then when we get in these certain situations when it's just the two of us and I'm running my mouth, I have to go, oh shit, I forgot Paul is packing.
Hey,
Paul is packing. I better
yeah, don't step this way.
I better I better not push it. One day at the very end of this whole Still I Rise podcast, we are going to expose ourselves.
No, we're not.
We're gonna expose ourselves and we're just gonna call it moments when I set it off. Okay.
Oh no, we are
And
not.
they're gonna be like,
No,
Jesus Christ.
we live in this country somewhere.
Somewhere. But you don't, I mean, I think if there's a real honesty and authenticity to being able to admit and acknowledge to yourself first
Yes.
I'm not doing this too well.
And
I'm not
one of the things that I
feeling
love
well.
about my employer is that they actually not only talk about it, but they exercise it or execute it by giving people like 40 hours of caregiving leave on top of your vacation.
Yes.
You can take personal days. And any employers who might be listening or those who can have an influence on employers, once again, I always say, get a couple of people and go and talk to the employer. It doesn't take that much
Yep.
for an
Yep.
employer. This isn't
Yep.
like millions of dollars of change,
Yep.
like
Yep.
a
Right.
software upgrade or something, and talk about what can happen in the workplace to make women who are and men who are
Right.
going through challenging situations feel like it's okay, that we got you,
Well,
we understand.
there are
Um,
things that your employer does that actually blow my mind because you recall not too long ago when you told me that you had to have a full month or so.
Yeah, we have renewal. I mean, that's how they call it a sabbatical in higher education. But any employee, it's not just executives, but any employee who has been at the organization for more than 7 years gets a
Mm-hmm.
month off with full pay. It doesn't count toward their vacation or any of that. And the
Wow.
only requirement is that you don't look at your email or use your cell phone. You
I
don't do
mean,
any
that blew
work
my
related
mind.
stuff. And so again, that's an acknowledgement that
That
you
blew my
can get
mind.
burnt out. And
That blew
you
my
want to work
mind.
harder. And there's some research that shows that too, that when that's acknowledged, that you actually are more loyal and committed to the workplace.
That's
There's also some research, and I want to just share this very quickly. There's some theories used in terms of work-life balance research. One is a role theory, Sonia. It says individuals occupy multiple roles: worker, parent,
yeah.
partner, caregiver, and the conflict of enrichment between those roles affects balance.
Mm.
So the role
The
overload or
conflict of, say that again, the
the
conflict
conflict
of,
of enrichment, how involved you are in each of those roles, will impact your balance. And that's called the spillover theory, right? And so experiences in one domain, like work, will spill over positively, and here's a catch, or negatively into another domain, home and vice
absolutely,
versa. So if you're
which
having
we
issues
know.
at home, it's spilling over to the workplace. And
Right.
so when you talk about balance, like
Yep.
separating that's just something not going to happen. We are one
Absolutely.
human being, we're one person. I'm not like this
Yep.
person here, and that's going to impact how you work, how you think, your productivity, all of
Yep.
that. And so if we don't
Yep.
speak up, I'm telling every woman who's listening, if you don't speak up or find two
Yep.
or three women to speak up, ain't nobody coming behind you to say nothing. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
So it's our responsibility to talk about this and to, I can call work chats, women work chats, and just in the group
Right.
in the workplace, just have some chats with other women and say,
Well,
let's
and the
talk to each other.
recognition, as you say that, Paula, um, the recognition that it really isn't just you,
Right.
that you and I've talked about how one of the struggles that we think women endure repeatedly is that because some of these burdens, responsibilities, expectations feel so
Hmm.
heavy, it also feels isolating.
Absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
all it feels very isolating because it gets so heavy. All that you can process is this is happening to me.
Right.
This is happening to me. And you can't get out of the headspace that no, it's yes, it is happening to you. But don't get caught up in the mindset that because you feel that it is so heavy, that it means you are flawed, that
Right.
you are less
More than
than.
enough.
You are more than enough.
Exactly.
And I hope
Exactly.
women hear this.
I do too. And
You
when
are
I
more than
and
enough.
enough. And when I shared just briefly a minute ago that my sister died, she had cancer, and then my sister-in-law died within 24 hours of that, and she had
Mm,
cancer.
mm,
And
mm.
I was going back and forth to Ohio every other weekend. My mom was alone because my dad had died,
Mm.
and there's so many other things that were going on. You know what? That same year that all that happened, I won
Yeah.
the faculty award at the college.
Are you serious?
I think about that only because that's how hidden, uh,
Yes.
that's how much harder I was working.
Yes.
That's how much more I was trying to make
Right.
certain that I produced and
Yes.
showed up because I knew I was
Yes.
taking time to do all these
Yeah.
other things. And it's unfortunate. I hope that's not the case now.
But what I want to ask you, or I would ask any woman who just shared what you shared, at what cost?
Exactly. And that's why
Eh,
And I'm not prone to crying. I don't, I'm not one of these people who boo-hoos. But when I found
Right.
out that I had won that, and that's an award that is given, as you know, by your
Yep.
colleagues. They
Yep. Yep. Yep.
actually cried about how in the world this year of all years, when I felt so down and so not enough and
Yep.
so drained, that I would receive this most
Yep.
prestigious award. And it
Yeah.
was just to this day, it just I still think about that what I did to myself during that
Yeah.
time, the cost, at what price, what cost
Yep.
was. Um,
At what
but
cost?
yeah, and so we don't need to do that. And that's been some
No.
time ago. We don't need to be all, we don't need to put that cape on anymore. We need to take that
No.
superwoman cape off and
No.
yeah,
And
and
I would say, and this is not at all to diminish the critical need, one, for culture change in these
right,
workplaces, two, not trying to devalue the importance of these resources, employee assistance programs, and so forth that are in place. They are critical. I worked in an employee assistance program and so forth. But if you are one who is not inclined to use those work setting resources because of whatever reason, either you don't want your business out there, you don't
right,
have trust, you're not one who's comfortable sharing with people you don't know, I would really, really impress upon you the need to identify one or two people, because I'm talking about how it is I survived it.
right, right.
One or two people that you can trust, that you do feel comfortable with.
Hmm.
That when I cried on the phone to Paula Cunningham, I'm not hanging up that phone feeling, oh, she thinks now I'm one weak bitch. Okay, blah, blah,
Right,
blah. That wasn't my takeaway.
right,
My takeaway was I needed that time and space to let some of that go and
right,
flow.
right.
And do you remember saying to me, I'm only saying this on this
Cry not
podcast.
because you're weak, because you've been strong too long.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you cry
Paula,
not
that
because
is
you're weak, but because you've been strong.
strong for too long.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know how much repeating that carried me through so much
Yeah.
and gave me permission
Mm-hmm.
to sometimes just sit on my own in my own safe space and just have a good cry.
Yes.
Let it out. You saying that to me was transformative.
Yeah.
So say it again, Cunningham, because I want somebody needs to hear it. I feel like we're going to church today. Somebody needs to hear that again. Say it again.
Yeah. Yeah. We cry not because we're weak, but because we've been strong for so long.
Right.
And there's a buildup of emotion,
Yes.
and that explosion comes out in tears and in other ways. And so it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength that you've been
Yes.
holding everybody up and everything else up. And
Yeah,
so
that
it's
was
it's
pretty
it's
powerful
powerful.
for me.
And that's why I say I'm not prone to crying. I'll go to the shooting range and shoot a gun and and put some faces on the I remember, because I'm a golfer, and I can remember I was hitting that golf ball, and I was getting a lesson, and the gentleman, the golf pro, said to me, "Think of that little white ball as a little white cancer cell."
Mm.
And my sister,
Mm.
you knew what my sister was battling then at that time. He said, "Think of that
Yeah.
ball as a white girl."
That ball didn't stand a
That ball
chance,
might
did
still
it?
be going around the world. I mean,
That
just
was that was, you were doing some
yeah, in terms
transference.
of
That's
how
what we
you hit it,
call
because
that.
I'm kind of punching or whatever, but driving through
Yes.
it, drive all the
Yeah.
way through. Don't stop, just drive all the way through that ball.
Yep.
Bro, I think
Yep.
that ball is still up in Mars somewhere. And every
But
ball
you know
thereafter.
what you point out when you say that is
Uh-huh.
whatever it is, if it's hitting that
Yoga,
ball, whatever,
Pilates.
you
Mhm.
got to find your outlets.
Right. Yoga, Pilates, whatever it might be. But
Whatever it is,
but talk to somebody. And
talk to
again,
somebody.
I am just so blessed to have had this sunset of my career, to have an employer who I I just absolutely admire, and
Yes.
gets it. And banking was wonderful, but in banking, I was CEO, president of a bank. You don't
Right.
always have that kind of luxury, just to take
No.
off. So some interest, at least you don't think you do, because
Right.
you're the president, CEO.
Right. Right.
You got to be there. But it doesn't matter your station in life, Sonia. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You've got to find, as you said, you've got to make yourself a priority.
Got
You've
to
got to,
make yourself a priority in your own life. And
yeah,
you
because
know what else, when I was asking you to share that bit about your employer giving you that month, that I found one was just because I said mind blowing. It's such a model for support for mental health and the level of productivity you get out of people. And then there's this other message that it sent. You are not indispensable.
Exactly right. I
Okay?
know, I know. Say that again because I'm still kind
You
of
you
struggling
are
with that. I
not
really did think I
indispensable.
was.
Okay? Whatever you're doing, you're not going, whenever we're gone, whenever we leave,
I
or
know.
whatever the case may be, that doesn't stop the show, ladies.
No.
It will roll on.
Hmm.
I have had people tell me that when someone has passed away, they have posted their position before the damn funeral.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, if that's not a message
My
to,
colleague says her mother told her because she thought she was indispensable as well. Her mother said, get a bucket of water, put
yeah,
your arm in the bucket of water down to your elbow, and you see it makes a hole. Okay. Okay. Then when you put
yeah,
put
yeah,
your
yeah,
arm in there,
yeah.
take it out, and that's how quickly you're going to be replaced. That hole is filled. So,
Now it is, and you think, and I think that is so important, not because we don't make a difference, not because we're not good at what we do,
right.
not because we're not productive,
Right.
but we are not indispensable.
We're a blip.
We're not irreplaceable
We're a blip.
in those particular work roles. And so
Exactly right.
don't get
Exactly.
your head so big.
I never get concerned with any of, we have associate state directors, assistants, whatever. I never
Yeah.
get concerned when they want to take a week or 2 weeks off or go. But if
Oh.
my assistant
See,
I
that
take the
person.
same week off,
See, we just shutting down. You you are ridiculous. So we just
I can't be here right now, y'all.
can't, now you done pushed it. I can't function right now.
Right. So you're talking about indispensable. We think we all that, their name in the corner suite,
Yeah.
all that. Mm-mm. You let Andrea go somewhere.
And Andrea probably knows it too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. She knows it. I give her all kind of gifts under the table.
Good, good. Take care of those people. Take care of
Right.
those people that take care of you.
But this shows out,
Absolutely.
and that strength can show in other ways too, because we talked about this as people. We talked about hair. People will change
Yes.
their hair color or get a piercing or get a
Yep.
tattoo just to try to express themselves differently when they're
Yep.
going through something or their behavior may
Mhm,
to ignore
mhm.
that in the workplace. You see something. So what caused this? What created this?
Yeah.
Might be an open door for a
Right.
manager or someone to say to an employee, hey, what caused you to get the tattoo? You might be surprised what you hear,
Right.
or what caused you to say that, So be more observant and aware of what's going on around you and how people are reacting because you never know. And I used to close my meetings at the bank all the time.
Mhm.
Be good to each other because you never know what they're going through.
That's true.
Be good to each other because
You
you
don't
never
know.
know what they're going through.
And they don't know what you're going through. And so it's
I ain't
almost like,
telling them.
give yourself and others some grace.
Yeah, and I ain't telling them what I'm going through. That's just how
No,
I'm made. I
no,
know other people go, bah, bah.
that's right. No, that's how we are. But
Yes, that's how.
we're
Is
just
that old
not cut from
school?
that cloth.
Is that
But
old school
it
for us?
also means, say
Yeah.
what, honey?
Is that old school? Is that because
I don't know. I think part of it is. I think part of it is we've had the women in our lives modeled, I think, that for us. So, I mean, I think there's that strand for us, for both of us, that, we had strong mothers. These are women who they just they kept on keeping on,
I know, I know.
okay, through all of the most. Do you remember that story I told you about my mom? I'll never forget it. When she was her senior year in college,
Mhm.
and my mother was exceptionally bright, and she
Right.
was class
Daughter. Hmm.
valedictorian or something like that, but she was also pregnant with me.
Hmm.
And she was literally waiting on a bus. This is, 1960, waiting on a bus to go to her speech, to go to her speech. Two men get out of a truck, haggle her a little bit, say some things to her, spit on her, get back in their truck and drive off. I'll never forget this. And I remember my mother sharing this
Yes.
story with me, and I was like bawling, just
Hmm.
thinking like,
Right.
how dare they do that to her, blah, blah, blah. I said, Mom, what did you do?
Right.
And she said, Baby, I went on about my business too.
Hmm. Hmm.
The strength and the
That's
fortitude.
the strength.
So when
That's
I share that to say, when we've had women in our lives who have modeled that for us,
Right.
That life ain't been no crystal stair.
Hey, you know my story. That's what I say all the time. Don't come complaining to me about how hard things are. And Andrew Young said something not too long ago in terms of the country that reflects what you just said, Sonia. He said, if things get as worse as they used to be, then we can manage through that. But if they get
Yes,
worse than that, we don't know what we'll do.
we
And
don't
they
know.
haven't gotten as worse as they used to be in terms of
Yes.
fire hoses, dogs, and not being able to read or write, or going to school, or someone spitting on you, or black and white water fountains.
And
And
Andrew Young is he's got to be how old now? I mean,
in his mind or in real age,
in real life.
it's like 90s.
Yeah, I was gonna say 90s, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so think
But the
about that.
wisdom that man has
Yes, yeah.
in that statement and that observation, and
But
he's
we don't have
absolutely
to put
right.
the cape on all the time. We've come so far. We don't have to
Yep.
be the superwoman all the time anymore. We need to be able to talk to people. I think you and I are from a different generation that perhaps that
Yes.
wasn't always the case. You keep
No.
everything at
But
home.
we
You keep,
always knew we get
yeah.
through.
But
We
I'm
get
not.
through
I'm
it.
not managing that way. No, I'm trying to encourage everyone that I work for to
Take
talk, to have. Yeah, yeah. We
And
even had.
I just hope that if they hear nothing else or pull nothing else from this conversation today, um, take care of yourself
Mental wellness. Mental
and
wellness.
make yourself a priority in your own life. Don't let a day go by. If you would not let a day go by in which you do not feed your children,
Mhm.
or in which you do not bathe, or in which you do not whatever,
Well, maybe.
maybe we might could skip a shower day, right? But
I've
if you
smelled
would
some
not
people.
let a day go by in which you would not do the things you automatically
Right.
do to take care of others, is my
Exactly.
point. Don't let a day go by in which you do not and cannot put your head to pillow without saying what you did for yourself.
I like that. Yeah, let's close on that one. And if
Yeah.
you want to make me a priority, you could give me that necklace. But other than that,
Don't you rip me off for enough jewelry? You rip me off, you take it off of me to try it,
I
and then I
got the
never get the shit
bracelets.
back. I mean, it's like, yeah, those bracelets. Where'd you get the bracelets, Cunningham?
And ladies and gentlemen, with that, we will close this
God,
podcast.
she's a
Please
thief.
like, subscribe, share,
She's a
follow,
thief.
and let us know what you're doing for work-life balance or whatever it's called.
The big lie.
The big lie, the work-life balance, the big lie. And let us know
Yes.
what you think and topics that you want us to talk about and to share. And we're going to talk a little bit, I think one of our upcoming podcasts too, about women who don't vote for other women.
Oh, I like
So
that
we
one.
just saw some data. Sonia just saw some data about
I like
these
that one.
elections and how women aren't supporting women,
Right.
and why that is, and some other stuff. So put something in the chat what you like to hear
Interesting.
about, and thanks again for watching. I'm Paula Cunningham. This is Dr. Sonia Gunnings Moten, and this is Still I Rise. Woohoo!